Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Tom Bean. I work for Flagship Investment Group. We handle the 403B plan for Lakeshore Community Services. What I'd like to do today is cover the plan. And you should have two things. One is a handout entitled Lakeshore Community Services TSA Retirement Savings Plan. The second is an enrollment book from the American Funds. On the title it says, Dream Big, Save Smart, Start Today. Now, the 403B plan is available for anybody who generally works 20 hours a week or 1,000 hours a year. You're eligible for the plan immediately. What I'd like to do to start out is to ask and answer three basic questions. The first question is, why should I contribute to my 403B plan? The second is, how much should I contribute to the 403B plan? The last question is, how should I invest my money? Now, why should I contribute? Nobody wants to work forever. We want to retire at some point in time, but we can't retire until we save enough money to supplement our income when we no longer are working. I give the example of $50,000. If I worked and I saved $50,000 and I retired, what I could do with that is I could roll that money into an IRA rollover, and then what I could do is I could take out $500 a month, and if that money earned 6%, that money of $500 a month would last me 12 years. So I would have my Social Security, I would have my savings from my retirement plans. If I needed more than $500 a month, I need to save more. Or if I needed to draw that money longer than 12 years, I might have to work longer. The second question was, how much should I contribute? Experts typically say that you should put in at least 10% of your pay. With this plan, I would put in at least 3%. Why? Because generally, Lakeshore makes a matching contribution dollar for dollar on the first 3%. So if I put in 3% of my pay, Lakeshore puts in 3% of my pay, equals 6%. All those contributions are 100% vested. And the last question is, how should I invest my monies? We have 8 different investment funds and 11 different target date funds. Typically, 75% of the people in Lakeshore have put money into a respective target date fund. So that's the most popular choice, and I'll go through that in a minute. As I turn to the next page, it's entitled, again, Lakeshore Community Services TSA Retirement Savings Plan. As of June 1st of this year, you had almost 300 participants and you had over $6 million in assets. The benefits to you of the plan would be employees make contributions from their pay into the plan on a pre-tax basis. Participation is optional. The enrollment periods are January 1st and July 1st. You can put as much as $18,500 in the plan. There is no percentage cap. Just a dollar cap of $18,500. And if you're over age 50, you can put in an additional $6,000. Your contributions and the earnings grow tax deferred. Again, Lakeshore generally makes a matching contribution. In the past, that match has been a dollar for dollar on the first 3% that you put in. Again, you can allocate your money between a variety of different investment funds. There's tax credits for low-income savers. There's a variety of distribution options. And then lastly, you would get a statement on a quarterly basis. It would come to your house. It would show you your beginning balance, the money that has gone in, the earnings, as well as your ending balance. On the next page, I have an illustration showing you what it means to save money on a pre-tax basis. And in this illustration, there is after-tax and pre-tax. And on the right-hand side, you can see that if somebody were to make $25,000 and put in 6% of their pay into the plan, that would be $1,500. If they do that, they lower their taxable pay. If they lower their taxable pay, they lower their taxable income. By doing that, there's a tax savings. So the bottom line is they save $1,500, but they have $225 in tax savings. On the back of the page, there's some illustrations on what it really costs you, as well as even a little can go a long way. So for instance, if I made $25,000 and I put in 3% of my pay, That means every 2 weeks, $29 goes into the plan, into my account, but my pay only goes down by $25. Why? Because I pay less federal tax. So during the course of the year, I save $750, and my tax savings is $112. Why? Because I pay less tax. Even a little can go a long way. If I save 3% of my pay, $750 goes in. If I save that over 10 years and my earnings would be 6% a year, I would have over $10,000. If I save that over 20 years, my balance would be almost $30,000. And if I save that over 30 years, my balance would be over $60,000. So earlier I gave you the example of saving $50,000. But clearly, if you save 3% of your pay, if you make $25,000, if you work 20 years, just your contributions alone may grow to $28,000. With the match, you double that, you'd have over $50,000. Again, that's based on investment earnings of 6%. The next couple of pages, we're going to start to get into the investments and your choices. The next page, it says Investment 101. And when you look at investment, there's three basic types. There's stocks, there's bonds, and there's money market funds. A stock, there's some risk there. Stock, I'm looking for growth, but there's some volatility, there's some ups and downs. A bond is a little bit more stable, but a little bit less risk, a little bit lower potential for return. And money market funds is low risk and low return. Why those three are important as we see the next page. This tells us how those investments have done over time. In the middle column, we look at large cap stocks. Again, companies like IBM, General Electric, Microsoft. If I look down that column, I can see that some years are up and some years are down over a 25-year period. But on average, my return is up a little bit over 10%. If I put $1,000 in that stock investment, the S&P 500, in 25 years, that would be worth over $11,000. On the right of that would come mostly ups, a few downs, but on average, my return is up a little bit more than 5%, half of that is stocks. And the growth of those monies over time only grew to about $3,500. And to the right of that is treasury bills or money market funds. Low risk, low return. But you can see my return is a lot less, 2.5%. And the growth of those dollars over time only grew to about $1,800 over a 25-year time period. The idea behind investing is you start out when you're young, more in stocks, less in bonds. As you grow closer to your retirement date, you want to shift those assets from more aggressive to less aggressive. You want to take out your enrollment book. I want to go through some of the highlights. And the first, it talks about the advantages of the plan, and I covered a few of those. Number one is its growth potential. Pre-tax day on a website. Again, you would get statements on a quarterly basis. On page 3, a little can go a long way. On page 4, it talks about decide how much to save. On page 6 and 7, it talks about choosing your investments. And again, there's two basic strategies that I would find, which we talked about a minute ago. And the idea behind a target date fund is you pick the fund that coincides with your retirement date. So for instance, 73 and 19, 2038, 2042, the age-appropriate target date fund for me would be 2040. Again, if you don't know anything about investments, but you're kind of trusting, if you went into a target date 2040 fund, that would be an appropriate investment for somebody that is your age. The next page is you can choose your own investments and build your own portfolio. And again, that we're providing to you. And again, the book has additional information about the investment funds, rates of return, expense ratios. Again, additional information about the funds. On page 23, again, you start out in a target date fund and more in stocks, less in bonds, more aggressive. But again, as you grow older and closer to your retirement date, the American Funds automatically shifts those assets for you. You don't have to do anything. So if I was 25 years old and I started at Lakeshore Community Services, if I put my money, let's say, in the target date 2060 fund, maybe for the next 40 years, I would not have to change my funds, but as I grow older, the American funds would change that mix for me. And then lastly, there are the enrollment forms. If you're interested in enrolling in the plan, you would fill out the enrollment form as well as the beneficiary designation form. And you would hand those into Kristen or your human resource contact. The beneficiary designation form, you can name anybody as your beneficiary, but if you're married and you name somebody other than your spouse, you need your spouse to consent to that by signing and having their signature witnessed by a notary or a plan representative. Getting back to my individual packet, I talked about investing these monies in individual different funds. This asset allocation strategies is a guideline for you. So for instance, if I was 21 to 40, I am suggesting that maybe all your money should be in stock funds, and it should be allocated between the Growth Fund of America, the Fundamental Investor, the Small Cap World Fund, as well as the New Perspective Fund. You can see that as I grow older, my funds change a little bit. And they change because I'm growing closer to my retirement date. The main change is you're decreasing the amount of stock funds and you're increasing the amount of bond funds. So that 41 to 55, 80% of my monies are in stocks, 20% of my monies are in bonds. If I'm 56 to 65, 65% of my monies are in stocks, 35% of my monies are in bonds. Maybe at retirement, half my monies are in stocks and half my money is in bonds. If you choose individual funds, you should make these changes as you go. If you're on a target date fund, they take care of all that for you. And the last thing is a summary plan description. This is how the plan works in simple terms. Who's eligible? What can I contribute? When can I take the money out? If you have any questions, I would contact Kristen or I would contact your human resource contact in your local area. Thank you and good luck.